see you, Craig. I was thinking yesterday that how many interviews do you think we've done over the years?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, obviously, we're back a long way.
But we've never done one on video, have we?
No, that's true.
And I did think as well, amount of times you've said to me over the years, you've said something then gone off the record. We've got to be a bit more careful today.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be a lot of editing. But I think, like you said, we go back a long way, but I've not known you as... I've been watching non-league football since '98, but I didn't meet you probably till 2010. But you actually go, how far do you actually go back non-league wise into the memories? When you were like 6 or 7?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 46 next week, so yeah, you're probably right. So probably 6-year-old, so probably 40 years I've been in non-league really from my dad and everything. So yeah, still love it, and yeah, I've seen a lot of things over them years.
Because I remember talking to you once about, I don't know if you'd done some programmes out, but did you collect programmes?
Yeah, I did. From a young age, I had lots of programmes. I've still got them, to be honest with you. So yeah.
Because it was more because your dad managing and playing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean, my dad was involved in non-league from, you know what I mean, from when I was young. So I used to go watch the games, and then I started training with the first team. I even scored in my debut.
Is this Ponty Collieries?
Yeah. So
would you say you supported you as a young lad?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first game I remember watching when Guiseley come down and played Pont Collieries, and they had a great team. Guiseley, Dean Walling scored a great header from 18 yards out. And
is that when like Gordon Rayner went manager?
That's it.
He got to FA Vase?
Yeah, that's it. Vince Brocky and people, and over the years, you know, and Max, I think, in nets and stuff. So yeah, I can just remember that day really well, and just sort of loving the environment, and I've had the bug ever since, really.
And I think I remember once talking to you, and I didn't believe you, but I went and had a look. And North Shields and Spennymoor were in the NC, weren't they, around that time as well? Which is crackers, isn't it, really?
Yeah, well, I can remember one of the good players, you know, Jason Ainsley, who went on to be a manager, and I was against him, and he was another player I watched from afar who I loved and stuff. So yeah, I had a book as well, a bit of a stato and a bit of a geek. I think I've told you that in the past, really. I had all the names, and I knew all the teams. So it was good, yeah.
Another game I think I spoke to you before, because obviously my dad used to be director of Park Avenue, so I was there from '98. I got handed, when I started doing a bit of video stuff around 2006, I got handed a load of old Avenue videos what somebody had produced from when they reformed, basically. Yeah. And the 91 Cup West Riding Cup final. Yeah. Did you go to that?
I did, yeah. You know, I can't remember. Did they win Ponty?
No, they won in extra time.
Extra time, yeah.
Darren Warman, did he play for Ponty at one point?
Don't remember him actually. But he was
striker, but the Eli's, you remember the Eli's?
I do, yeah, very good.
Rowan Eli, Rupert, who was the Rowan, is it?
Yeah, I mean, around that time actually, yeah, is when I sort of started watching a lot of games, to be honest with you. But then it was hard because I started playing myself and sort of started to miss a few matches.
Because I think Jim Mackay was the manager of Avenue, and I think he managed Ponty for a bit.
Yeah, there was Craig Sidder, I think, as well.
Lindsay Dawson played in midfield.
Lindsay Dawson, yeah, he used to be at Ossett Albion as well, yeah. So,
I mean, it's great memories, and ironically, Ponty, I don't know if it might have been, they won the County Cup this year, with the first time they ever won it.
Yeah.
Possibly that might have been the last final they were in that competition.
Yeah, no, I was sort of pleased for Rousey this year, obviously. I'm a Ponty Collieries fan from afar, you know, I don't live far from the ground, so really pleased for them to win that this year.
I mean, obviously, I'll scatter a little bit over your playing career, because you play for likes of Ponty, Glasshoughton, Hatfield, Harrington, Ferriby, Farsley. But in terms of management, your first actual opportunity came through Trevor Waddington with Ponty Collieries Reserves. And when you look what you've gone to achieve, it's a bit of an unusual entry point.
Yeah, literally started at the bottom without being too disrespectful to Ponty Collieries Reserves, but you know, it was brilliant. I loved it that year. We played against some big teams in that league, you know, and learned the ropes really, and yeah, it was a good learning curve, and I'm thankful for the opportunity at the time.
I think teams like Morecambe were in that Lancashire league.
Yeah, they were Hyde, I think we had a good team at the time, you know, so there were a lot of National North teams that had, you know, Stalybridge at the time were a big team and stuff, so, and like I said, it was just a good learning curve really, trying to get players in. And
can you remember how that came about?
Well, I can remember how it came about in terms of myself, you know, I was quite sort of in a bad place in terms of, obviously I had to retire from football, and I loved the game and I wanted to get back in somewhere, and the job, I think it was a new job as well, obviously it was a new league that had been formed, and I really wanted to get back involved in it, and I just wanted to give it a go, and yeah, Trevor was lucky enough to give me a job, and I loved it.
So how old were you at the time, 29?
Yeah, around that, yeah, 28, 29, yeah, so...
Because I think one of your last games as a player once it a Ponty goals again? Did you miss a chance or something?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I guess Daz Smith still reminds me of that really. But yeah, I think I come on and scored that as well in Derby against Glasshoughton for Ponty. So that's but my body just couldn't cope with playing.
But what exactly happened? Did you miss a chance or something in the last minute?
Yeah, I think I come on and equalised midweek for him because I was helping out as well for the first team obviously, and then I scored against Glasshoughton. Then I come on against Emsworth, I think, and I missed a good chance actually to win the game, and Daz always reminds me about that. But yeah, around that time I knew that just physically I couldn't play football anymore.
So in terms of, I think, did you do both jobs at the same time, or did you go into the next job at Kellingley?
No, that following year obviously Kellingley job come up and I wanted to go into that first team environment. They'd been relegated and again another local team, and I were hungry, I had big ambitions just to try and win things really, and went there and we won 3 trophies that year, and that's really where I just knew I could do it really, I suppose, and sort of building a winning team and winning a league just gave me that bug to carry on. In
terms of, obviously like you say, you built a winning team pretty quickly, but it wasn't just like you just stepped into the job, you actually had done a bit of groundwork. So what would your wife say if we talked about what you used to do on a Sunday around that time?
Yeah,
she didn't see you much, did she?
Yeah, no, look, like I said, when I was a younger manager, I was relentless watching games, you know, I'm very much, I like to set a lot of notes and stuff, go watch all the training sessions, so I already used a database of players that I knew I wanted to bring in, and even if I made the progression up the leagues, I knew which type of players I wanted to bring in, so like I said, in the early days, I just worked really hard, like anybody does in life when they want to.
But you must have been going to 2 or 3 Sunday league games.
Yeah, it were a matter of watching. I mean, going back in them, not as much YouTube stuff as what there is now, and video analysis and stuff. So you had to physically go out and watch players and watch teams, and I did that and travelled all over the place really, and it were a good sort of you know, for me for future to get players and stuff.
You sort of knew the Cass Sunday League off by heart, and you knew where I'd walk it. You could have a ground up and come along, you'd be able to direct into that ground.
Yeah, no, that's it. I knew every player really, if I'm being honest, and I also started to take notes of tactical stuff because that's something that you don't really appreciate till you come out being a player. So yeah, like I said, just plenty of notes.
I mean, you'll know better than me in terms of, but I think you knew Josh Corbett anyway because I think your dad coached you about it.
Yeah, that's right.
Josh Corbett was an example of someone you pulled from just that research you'd done, and there was various others, wasn't there, in terms of early stages.
Yeah, no, and sort of also veteran players, you know, Jason Thorne, Paul Maloney, like lads, and Andy Seed, who we're very lucky to get, you know, who were an established North East Counties player. So yeah, we got lucky with some of the bits. David Dickinson, who were a top player as well. So and they're the bits of luck you need when you're building a team to be successful.
And obviously, you've had, like you say, success with Kellingley. So you've moved on to Glasshoughton, who actually, so they went something like 52 games without a win at one point, and then you went for the job, but they gave it to Stuart Waddington around November 2009, I think, and he did actually quite a decent job. He won his first game, ironically, and then he got to maybe 10th or something in the league, and then he decided to quit 2 weeks before the season, so you got the call, didn't you?
Yeah, and you know, at the time, you know what I mean, I wanted the job, you know what I mean, I made no sort of mistake about that. I was quite in touch with a lot. I knew a lot of the committee men, I knew Phil, obviously the chairman and stuff, so it was like, I wanted the job. Again, it was a team I played for, it was local, and I knew I could do well, because they had been doing well over the years, like you said, they were in a great place, and the only way we're up, and again, went in and managed to turn the fortunes around, really. And
but coming to that when you got the job, Stuart Waddington had obviously brought influx of players in, who then went moving to Liversidge.
Yeah.
So you started with ground zero 2 weeks before the season, and it's fair to say your first game went well.
Oh yeah, answer for it. I think they were one of favourites for the league at the time, you know, and stuff, and we were literally struggling to get a team, and they're the moments where you think, oh, I'm cut out for this, and what have I let myself in for here? But they're the moments that give you that hunger, and you know, I think we've got a real sort of turnout.
Well, you look at what you went on to gone on to achieve. And I thought Olympics in your first
game. No, but I maintain things like that are what test you and make you a better manager or a better player, whatever it is, and it was a tough sort of experience with that.
But I think when you look back at that first season, where if they said to you 2 weeks before the season starts, I can't remember how many were in the league that year, let's say 18. But if they said, you'll finish 13, 14, you took that, but you went above and beyond that. I think you finished 7th and you won the Wilkinson Sword.
Yeah.
Which at the time, I mean, that photo, it's not the best of photos, but it exists, that photo where you won the Wilkinson Sword. And when you look back, that was a monumental achievement.
Brilliant, yeah, I agree. I mean, that's the thing you got to think about. The people in the club knew where we'd come from to actually finish in the league, you know, so high up, and then also to win the Wilkinson Sword Cup were brilliant. And again, just gave me that impetus to know that I'm doing things right, and we could build on that really. And I think that I really enjoyed that season, to be honest with you. It was challenging, but actually, in the end, we achieved a lot.
And I think going into the following season, I mean, time fades, time moves on and memories fade, but from recollection, going into that following season, even though you built a strong squad, and I think Simon and Darren bringing them in was a bit of a masterstroke because they brought on Newcastle players from Ponty.
Yeah, I mean, I've always done that in my career, to be honest with you. I've never been frightened to bring in good assistant managers, proven managers, or maybe want to be managers, and you need good staff around you. And like you said, Daz and Simon were really good, in particular Daz, you know what I mean, he was superb. And yeah, it worked.
Because you went into that season and Carl Fodder had left with Simon and Daz when they left controversially Pontefract. But you look at teams in that league, Ponty were ploughing a bit of money in.
Yeah.
There was Workshop Parrymore and Handsworth before they merged.
Yeah.
And really, you should have never got anywhere near them, really.
No, and that's it. And again, it was
21 games unbeaten, I think you were.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. You know, but we had some really good players. You know, and like I said, team spirit were good, and it was good off the pitch, and it grew, and we fully deserved to sort of get promotion in that second season.
I mean, I know it's a recurring theme, and we laugh about it now, but you didn't have to go through some players that season.
Yeah, but to be honest, I mean, I'm not proud of some of the decisions I made sometimes, but when you're a young manager and you're hungry to do well, that you make quick decisions for the sake of the team. It was never done for any other reason, and you know, maybe some of them players felt a bit harshly done by, but in the end it worked out, and we got promoted. And yeah,
because if you speak to some of your ex-players, they describe you as a very ruthless man. But I think when you look at your record, it's been proven that your ruthlessness has been the right things to do.
I think in particular in me, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I was driven to do well. And
do you think we're more ruthless in them early days?
I think so. Yeah, I think definitely in the first 4 or 5 years. But you have to make tough decisions, and it's hard in non-league as well, because some of them are your friends, and some of them are, at that time, are similar ages as well. You know,
because you've certainly fallen out with a few people over the years.
Yeah, but it's if you're going to do the job right, you know, you've got to do it for the sake of the team. Like I said, it was never done with no malice. We were always done for the sake of the team to get better. If I could bring a better player in, then I would, and whether that's right or wrong, it was always about winning for me and trying to win leagues.
Is there a story where you brought... Did you bring 3 players off or something in the first 20 minutes at Glasshoughton?
Yeah, I've done that, you know.
Oh, you've done it?
Yeah, you know, it's... Again, it's not done to, you know, to other reason than help the team, really. And like I said, maybe some decisions went against me in terms of doing it, but obviously sometimes it paid off, and that's the pitfalls of being a football manager.
I think, I mean, again, your memories of games might be different to mine. The 2 games I've picked out, but they're more comical more than anything. The Ossett FA Cup game.
Right.
You drew 0-0 in the first one, and all hell broke loose in the second game. What do you remember of the second game?
Yeah, I think we had a disciplinary problem at the time. We had some really fiery characters. I'm not sure on the sending offs and stuff, but...
I think there were about 8 yellow cards to Glasshoughton and 2 red cards. But they were a bit comical, some of the red cards, weren't they?
Yeah, there were, and but I think along that time as well, I think we had to get a referee from FA.
Did you get Bobby Madden?
We did get that.
I put it on Facebook a couple of years ago. I put a newspaper cut in, and you said, did you have something stupid like 20 yellow cards and 5 reds?
Yeah, I mean,
6 games.
There was a particular game at Louth as well.
Louth
away as well, where we had some like sending offs in the last few minutes.
Am I right in thinking the Louth one? You made it 3-3 in the 95th minute. And everyone had his dog round to the corner.
And I had to take blame for that, because one of the rules I had was that everybody celebrates, even the keeper, if it's a big goal. And I think, you know what I mean, keepers.
Oh, you didn't have a particular goalkeeper at the time who was a bit excited.
Yes, yeah, that's Dobbs, yeah. So
did he get sent off as well? Then?
Yeah, I think he got sent off and got a booking and stuff like that. And so, yeah, at the time, and I think, to be fair, that was my enthusiasm and aggression rubbing off on players, and over the years that's mellowed a little bit, but. Yeah, we just had a lot of really highly motivated players, shall we say.
I think the Louth game possibly might have been before the Ossett Town game.
Yeah,
because Daz Smith I think got sent off as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I think there's a few times like Daz again. He had that enthusiasm, you see, so it rubbed off on everybody else. But it was part of our makeup as well, you know. So I don't sort of regret it.
One thing just to obviously a bit of a sombre note, but Paul Banton was a big player in your early years. I know he was playing for Emily when you went to promotion, but Chris Hitchens as well, and obviously sadly they both passed away.
Yeah.
So, and obviously people like Frank as well, and Barry.
No, definitely. I mean, this is the thing for all the amazing memories. You know, you're totally right there. Chris and Paul, obviously, they were big signings for me at the time, and Paul in particular was just such a good leader, and he played a big part in the early years at Glasshoughton, and just knitting the team together and being such a good captain, and so sad obviously for them all, but it's got fond memories of them all, to be honest.
I think Chris Hitchens passed away 18 months ago, and I think he's a big part of possibly one of the games that you probably regard the highest, don't you? And obviously I'm meaning hands up away.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
because you were, just to paint the picture, you'd obviously lost to Rossington in that game where the floodlights went out, and you had 4 games to play, and you had basically to win them all, and I hope that Hands have possibly lost it, works on Panama or vice versa. But it looked like the title hopes were up in smoke, didn't it?
It did.
So you've gone to Hands who, if they won the league that night as well?
Yes, they did, yeah.
If they'd won.
Yeah.
But things didn't exactly go to plan.
No, and that was an unbelievable result for us. And like I said, we were chasing for that last month just to win games to get promoted, and we went on a remarkable run really in them last few weeks with some late winners, and I think it was a Friday night game, the Handsworth game, and we scored a late winner.
But I think we were down to 10 men for...
Down to 10 men as well.
Because Hitchens had been sent off.
Exactly,
Was it something like 10th minute?
Yeah, really early, and I can remember Paul Sykes going back to centre-back, and he was just immense that day, and obviously Paul Sykes had a tremendous career, and he was superb, and along with a few of us, Carl Fothergill put a good shift in, and everybody really dug in, and I think that showed the team spirit we had that you need to get promotions, and I think Josh Corbett scored an unbelievable goal.
How many times do you think he watches that on YouTube? It's still there, isn't it?
Is it? I've not seen it myself actually, but I can remember it being an unbelievable goal.
Is it? I'm thinking it were a rocket.
Yeah, it was right into the top corner, and like I said, everybody played the part that night, and it was a fantastic win that ultimately, got us promoted.
And is it true that they had a party on plan, which...
I don't know, I can't remember.
Somebody saw me, they had a party planned.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it was just an unbelievable win from our point of view and set us up for, obviously Emily.
You didn't make it easy though, Emily?
No, I mean, that was another game of so many highs and lows in it, and I can just remember scoring a winner, me and Daz been in centre circle celebrating, and there was still minutes to play and stuff, so... but yeah, just a remarkable run really to get promotion.
You were 2-0 down at Emily with half an hour to go, and Paul Banton scored an own goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
And has Daz takes the credit for us in the Jewish done in that game?
He takes credit for all the good stuff that's done.
But you brought, obviously the Bennett brothers were key to that way, but you brought Lee Bennett was probably on the pitch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And you brought Steve Bennett on and he got both goals, 84 and 89.
To be fair to Daz, he did love Steve Bennett, and obviously he was a brilliant player, could score goals, and he improved that day. We had a few players that just did play well, like you can imagine with nerves, but like I said, in the end we found a way to win, and it just added to the drama really, that last sort of 3 or 4 weeks of the season.
Nobody believes me on this one, so I'll ask it now. I forgot to mention it earlier. But the first time I did meet you was Glasshoughton against Pontefract, November 2010, I think it was. It was a few months after you got the job. It was a Tuesday night game. Yeah. You'd played him in the West Riding Cup the week before, where there was a controversial penalty involving Lee Garside.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that West Riding Cup.
Yeah.
And then you played him again the following week, and it was the first time I met Sam Allen as well. But I could make him in the bar afterwards, and we did a piece of the Austrian Post. But Carl Fothergill scored, I think, Ponty's third to make it 3-1, and then had to go. Yeah. But I remember it as a header from the edge of the box.
Right, yeah.
But nobody believes me.
No, I can't, to be fair, my memory's not as good as what it was, but yeah.
Everybody I speak to, they say it can't be true, Carl Fothergill was the headers. I'm convinced it was a header for edge of the boxer. And who would have been in goal at that time?
For us, trying to think back then actually. I think Kemp actually, would it be Simon Kemp?
Were he liable to throw in here?
Yeah, maybe. It could have been Simon Kemp, but I'm surprised Fothergill scored an header from edge of
Well, that's what everybody tells me.
But he was a good goal scorer and a great
when I went down to Wembley last year, we went on the Garrison bus and he were on it.
Yeah, super.
And I mentioned it then, and he wasn't sure either.
Good lad, great player, to be fair to him.
Yeah. He's got an street named after him, did you know?
That was it.
Yeah, to do with Stocksbridge.
Right.
An FA Cup game, whoever scored got a street named after
Right, I didn't realise that.
Fothergill Drive, somewhere in Sheffield. Have you got a street named after him?
No.
All these achievements.
I'm not as good as Carl as that.
Shouldn't there be a street in Glasshoughton with your name on? Elliott Way. So you left Glasshoughton at the end of that season after promotion, a few weeks after. There was quite a few jobs up at the time. I can't remember precisely which ones there were, but there were certainly 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And Ossett Town was quite a good opportunity at the time, a lot of potential. And one thing you've always said is to me that you've always left your clubs at the right time and take as far as you can. And I think that was very true with Glasshoughton, looking back at the potential of Ossett.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Ossett were a step up in even though we've been promoted at Glasshoughton, it were another step up in league, and like I said at the time, we were really ambitious as a manager, and you know, the job come up, I went for the interview and got it, and as much as it were an hard decision, because I liked a lot of people at Glasshoughten, I just knew it were the right move really, and it was a job I couldn't turn down, so yeah, I have no regrets.
And I think when you look back, obviously you're 18 months, again, very similar to Glasshoughton in terms of completely rebuilding from the bottom, because I think, if I'm right in thinking, Phil Sharp had been the manager before you, but Eric Wilkinson took it to the end of the season.
Yeah. So
a lot of his players like your Ryan Whites who've been there, they'd obviously left to go to Aftersley. I don't think there was many players left, was there?
No, I think, did they get a reprieve? I think they finished near bottom, I think. And,
I don't know if they got a reprieve,
it was another club where I just felt it was win-win, you know, they're down at the bottom and you can only improve the situation, and I was proud to leave Glasshoughton in the position I did, and I knew I could improve Ossett really and leave them in a better position, which in the end I did as well.
Yeah, I mean, looking back again, time fades, and there isn't as, obviously they weren't the NZ, so you can't look at the results for that particular period, but I think, did you have a good FA Trophy run possibly?
Yeah, we had a really good FA Trophy run.
Did you play Solihull?
No, we played Stockport County away, we got beat heavily, I think 5 or 6-0, but they were a National League team at the time, and it was a great occasion, you know, and again, it was a good enough season, you know. I think we finished just above mid-table and improved on what was the previous year, really. One
game I do remember, but I didn't belong to the other club at the time, and I don't think I was too happy with it at the time after the game, but there was a 3-3 draw with Farsley, which I think the video still exists, which again, has everything, do you remember much of that one?
No, just, I think I remember this sort of result, but yeah.
It was the game where Shane Kelsey got sent off for the challenge goalkeeper.
There's a few of them.
Nobody jumped over if you recall.
Right, yeah.
And then Jimmy Iles scored a last minute winner into the top corner.
Oh, right, yeah. I mean, to be fair, in my time at Ossett, them two were unbelievable. Shane Kelsey and Jimmy Iles, such good
players. When you look back at your best signing, certainly for Ossett, Jimmy Iles was possibly your best one. In terms of what he's gone on.
Yeah, I mean, some of the goals that lad scored were incredible, and he went through a period where I just thought this lad's going to get a move to Football League, never mind. I know he went to Bradford, I think, at some point, but he was superb at Ossett. Some of the goals are the best goals I've ever seen in non-league, to be honest with you, that he scored. I can remember one Ossett derby, actually. I think it was Boxing Day against Ossett Albion, and he was a screamer, and yeah, he was certainly a very good player, and a good partnership with Shane Kelsey, actually.
And I think with Kelsey, obviously a good player for Ossett, but he was more your best signing for Short Lane, or certainly early on.
Oh yeah, I love Shane Kelsey, you know, what an unbelievable lad. So funny off the pitch, but such a talent on it, you know, he had everything really, he could score amazing goals, he was an horrible player, you know what I mean, and he just had everything. I love him to bits, to be fair.
Is there any other games that you remember from Ossett?
No, I think just more the second season really, that we brought in some good players, you know, who really improved us. Rich Patterson, Danny Patterson, you know, Foxy from.
So I think when you left, you were I think they were flirting with the playoffs, weren't they?
Yeah, I think we wanted playoffs. I think we were on the verge of it. Yeah, like you said, and we really fancied this chance of doing well. It were a good season. I'd signed some really good players from lower leagues actually, and. You know, Jesse from Taddy at times, stuff, Ryan Qualter as well went on.
That's the first time you managed him, isn't it?
Yeah, so and the Chris Wood up front, you know, and the atmosphere was really good off the pitch, you know, and it was an hard one to leave, but I think I remember at the time, I think the budget got cut when we were chasing the playoffs, so I just felt, you know, it were hard to sort of maintain that really.
I think one game that does stick out, if something just come to me, there was another Farsley game where I think Danny Patterson got sent off after 20 minutes. I know that's could be in any game. There'll be people watching thinking, well, that's not a surprise.
Yeah.
But the referee refused to shake your hand at the end of the game.
All right.
Do you remember that?
I don't know.
If you Google it, I think it might come up.
But it's not good if that happened. But yeah, I'm certainly sure that Danny Patterson probably would have got sent off at some point.
I think this is the biggest part of the interview. So Shaw Lane. So I remember it wrecking on. I think I spoke to you that night. Monday night, Craig Wood, the chairman of Shaw Lane, very ambitious man. He'd invested a lot at that point. Obviously, he'd party company with Simon Out a couple of weeks earlier, and they were looking for a manager. I think it's fair to say the internet exploded that night, isn't it? When they announced you got a job. I think what were probably the most that you saw? People thought you were absolutely crazy dropping down to levels.
Yeah, I think the bit that I didn't probably like whether it was all about money and things like that, because that's not true. I think the people that know me well know I'm not about that. I'm always about the ambition, and like I said, the Ossett town budget had been reduced even though we were chasing the playoffs, and this opportunity to come to a progressive club were an opportunity that I wanted to take, and it was an exciting time, and again another club I knew I could progress and do well with.
But history's shown that although people thought you were completely balmy dropping down 2 divisions, history's shown that actually it was the right move when you look where you took them.
Yeah, like I said, I always try and make the moves at the right time and make good decisions, and that was one. Looking back now, it was a really perfect move for everybody involved with it.
I think for me, looking back at that period, Shaw Lane was possibly one of the most exciting things to happen to this area in non-league football for a very long time.
Yeah, I think everybody would always talk about Shaw Lane, and I think me dropping down as well just added to the controversy, I suppose. I always felt like there was a story around the club.
Well, that was my first season doing non-league Yorkshire, I think. From sure, it was my first one. And obviously, I dealt you for Glasshoughton and Ossett Town, and did the Yorkshire Union both, and I'd set up the website, which to be fair was quite successful pretty straight away.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to know about Shaw Lane, didn't they?
Yeah. No, like you said, it's there's a bit of jealousy in there. There's people that are interested, but it basically got people talking about non-league.
But do you think, when you look back, I know I'm not from Barnes, you're not yourself, but you look at Barnes in non-league football that year, Penistone I don't think were in the NC at that time. I'm sure they were. I think it was the year after they came in. There was only really was with Ridge and Affisley, and Affisley were fairly new to it.
Yeah.
But what do you think it has done when you look back at the legacy of Shaw Lane? Obviously they've got Wimbledon Town now. What do you think the legacy is for non-league football in Barnsley? I think it's huge.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of the interest it's brought to
clubs. Without a doubt. We really put the area on the map, to be honest with you, with what we did, moving through the leagues, the FA Cup run, even the trophy run, the Vase run, and it generated interest, and nobody knew where Shaw Lane was or what it was. And I think there's a lot more people who knew about it, and like you said, it was just an amazing journey, really, and for non-league football, a good story as well.
Now, you might not know it, but we're on Northfield this season with one main because we've had a lot of pitch problems because of rain. But obviously, it has been unprecedented. But rain's something you'd associate with Shaw Lane a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, we played on the rugby pitch, and it was a nightmare at times. There were more games called off. We were always having to play 7-8 games to catch up to win leagues and cup competitions, but again, just added to the story and what
that's what I think. When you look back, when you're writing down your notes, you're trying to think of games. Now, Flackwell Heath was a Saturday game, and there were no guarantees that game would go ahead. And I think Craig would have spent thousands digging the pitch up mid-season, and I think it was the most sandiest pitch I've ever seen. But that had a lot of excitement that game.
No, and that's it,
Do you remember, I think Lee Morris possibly scored a late winner.
He did, and they were a good team at the time, we weren't fancied, but the ball wasn't moving as quick as it should. The pitch were event.
But like you said, we'll come to the actual context of the actual achievements later soon, but that season, like you said, because of the rain, there was a lot of bad pitch. I think you've got to have problems with rain to get on our channel. Recurring thing. But in terms of that season, obviously a lot of midweek games, which ties into how unbelievable the story is that season. But there was always a lot of the amount of people that I hate Shaw Lane, but they all used to turn up to watch all these midweek games.
Yeah.
But there used to be I liked to use the word razzmatazz. Because do you remember Desmond the Duck?
Yeah.
He used to dance off
that went down to Craig Wood, off the pitch. It was so well run, and I've been at some big teams since, and Shore Lane was well run as any club. It was so good.
And I think as well, one thing I always liked about Shore Lane, and you could probably relate to people you've met over the years, where if a money man's come into a club, you get the vibe straight away whether it's going to be longevity.
Yeah.
Now Shore Lane would be still here now if they've got a ground. 10 years ago, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I think with Craig Wood, what always impressed me is that, yes, he put his money in, he made it, but his actual people around that club with him were all volunteers.
Amazing.
And they didn't want money.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of clubs, you see it happen where an owner will go in and everybody's paid to do jobs, and then once that money's dried up, then people go with it.
Yeah.
Whereas he had a brilliant core of people around him.
It was fantastic, my best memories of the people around the club, and it was so well run, and the kit, the best kit it was. I mean, Woody used to sit up in his nice suit and be sweeping, stands to make them look nice, and everybody mucked in, and it was such a good club, and I think that filtered down to me wanting to not let them down, and my energy come to players, and as a club, it was just.
I mean, you look at some of the people, I think it's fair to mention David, I might potentially miss some, but David is the brilliant secretary.
Yeah.
Karen,
brilliant.
Part some of the jobs she did, numerous jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still got some Shore Lane merchandise at home, I've still got some scarves.
No, like you said, it was just so well run off the pitch, and everybody just wanted to do well, and they were so positive, and nothing but good things to say about everybody at that club.
Yeah. So you've got the job, you're most hated man in Barnsley, you get a bit of stick on match days included.
Yeah.
All the haters nearly were punching the air because you nearly blew it, didn't you, in that phase in NC Division 1. Bottisford and Cleethorpes ended up winning the league, and then you were vying for second place with Bottisford. And obviously a lot of money had been clearly spent in terms of getting that team together. You brought in quite a significant number of bodies like Danny Patterson, Kelsey,
and Gary Storr, I think, as well.
Possibly, because I think Ossett Ossett Town again. But it came to the second to last game, you played Hemsworth. And I think he took an early lead and then he went a bit pear-shaped, didn't he? Do you remember that?
I just remember in general that it were a tough promotion to win because you're coming in with a team that were not full of confidence, so then you're trying to bring in new players, and the aim was to get promoted straight away, so it was tough, to be honest with you.
But the Hemsworth game in particular, people still remind me of that now. Is it your memory?
No, I'm just trying to think about how the game went, really.
Well, he took the lead, but then Hemsworth ended up being 3-1 up with 20 minutes to go.
Right.
And I always remember Craig O'Connor racing around the ground, chucking balls back on. Now, you got it back to 3-2. And can you remember what happened in the 97th minute?
No, what nice.
A cross from the right, and do you remember Andy Hart, the centre half?
Yeah.
It was probably the best goal of his career, but it leapt like a salmon and headed past Jamie Oliver.
Did it? Right, yeah.
I think he showed you a picture of flat on ground.
Right.
And then for that minute 3-3.
Yeah.
And I think you did an interview after saying, "Well, we're still in it."
Yeah.
And then you drew in Ayers on the Thursday to win promotion.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Because they scored a bizarre goal in the 90th minute.
Yeah, they did.
But it didn't actually matter.
No, but like I said, we basically just crawl over the line, you know what I mean, to get promotion.
Yeah, that's the right way to put it, crawling. But that game in particular, I mean, the Nairn game probably stands out. Obviously, I spoke to Danny Frost about this game during lockdown. Yeah. But obviously, Craig Wood was very poor that season. Yeah, well, and he did a talk before that particular game.
Yeah, and that was the thing really. When I first come in, I didn't have a lot of contact with Craig because he was obviously poorly and things. So I was like basically manager, but not having that communication with the chairman really as much. But I think again that showed the club, everybody pulling together to get that promotion that year. You know. It wasn't necessarily the manager, the players, it was everybody just basically doing it.
He was very ill once and he did a speech before
he did actually. I can remember it was quite emotional obviously because he said it's everything that he wanted to do and get promotion, and there were a lot of people that thought a lot about Craig, and you know, and they know how well he looked after them, and it was nice to repay him with that first promotion really. Yeah.
So Danny Frost is a big part of Wimbledon Main. He lives literally across the road. Right. Because during the lockdown he was hauled up, you know, isolated. Yeah. And he once watched a game in his bedroom.
I think I saw that.
The one in the last minute with the penalty. He filmed it from his thing. But there's a tree slightly in the way. What was he like to manage? You know, difficult at times because he wanted to play all the time, he wanted to play in his best position, you know, but a fantastic player, a really talented player, and again played a huge part in
winning games and the success the club had, you know. I think the problem with Danny was that he always had people wanting to sign him because he was a good player, and I think maybe he even say himself now, like, if he should have just maybe ignored them other people, and sometimes had his head turned quite easily, but really one of the most talented players I've managed, you know, could score great goals.
He actually worked for Aquaforce, so
yeah.
And he was obviously mates sorts with Craig Elliott. So the actual, when he went over that white line for Shaw Lane, it meant a lot to him, didn't it? And some of the goals he scored were actually quite important.
Oh, brilliant. Like I said, from a football point of view, he's a superb player, but I think because of how good he was, he always attracts interest from higher leagues, and I think if he could have just got his head down, and he'd have been even better, and it'd have come to him a bit further down the line, but nothing but good thing to say about him. Really good player, good lad.
Yeah, so he come to the 14-15 season, which I think still now is possibly one of the most competitive NC Premier Division title races.
I say this to a lot of people, that year, that Premier League, you know, in North East Counties was strong. You know, we had Worksop, who had unbelievable players.
Well, they just come down. I mean, I wrote the 5 teams down here at the time. You might add a couple more.
Yeah.
But I wrote them down, but Hino were a strong side, but I don't think they finished too high.
No.
But Tadcaster were going for it, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Handsworth, they fell away, but they were going for it. Cleethorpes, they weren't far away. And Worksop Town, obviously, were going for it because they just come down 2 leagues, and obviously yourselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody else, but you could put. I think you lost 4 games all season, didn't you, in the league?
That's one of the most successful seasons I've had as a manager, to be honest with you, because like you just said, I think there were genuinely 4 or 5 strong teams going for that league title, and we've only one place to sort of, you know, to go up, and it were tough.
And you also had Rain, Pictures, and FA Vase to contend with.
Yeah, and we had some amazing wins in the FA Vase, and that probably coincides with one of the biggest disappointments I've had in my management career is the FA Vase.
I was just going to say that,
I genuinely think we were good enough to win it that year. We just didn't have the right bit of luck at the right time, and we beat some big North East teams that year and put some great performances.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't put the first 2 down bits on my sheet, but I think you won away at St Helens to a penalty in the first game. You beat Runcorn minutes on a Sunday game. They were possibly the favourites to win it that day. That was a Sunday game, November time. And then, ironically, then you got Jordan as possibly the holders, but certainly the favourites. Yeah. And he didn't go down all that game because I think there was a sending off in that game. Yeah. Kelsey, did Kelsey score for halfway?
Yeah, brilliant goal. You know, a typical Shane Kelsey goal, and that's probably one of the best performances one of my teams had, to be honest with you, because like you said, they were one of the favourites.
Would you say? I mean, when you look back at your career, that particular game, West Auckland away, at that point in time, was possibly the biggest game in your management career, possibly. Yeah,
definitely. Like you said, you're going up there to North East, and everybody knew at the time, FA Vase is always dominated by North East teams, and nobody fancied us, but we put on such a good performance, but we had good players, like you said. Shane Kelsey scored a goal like he did, you know, Sam Denton at back, you know, Stefan Holt, really good players.
Well, Sam Denton, we forgot about, but he was actually the captain of that Shaw Lane side.
Yeah, no.
Because a lot of people talk about your Lee Morris's, who again was a big player that season.
Yeah,
but I mean, you always had an issue with the keeper that season in terms of you went for a few.
Yeah.
But in the end, Ian Deakin was outstanding to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I spoke to Deakin the other day actually, but he was a great keeper, and we were lucky to get him. And it was just a good run, you know. We had a good win at Oakwell as well, because of pitch problems, so we had to hire out.
Well, I think they were favourites again.
Yeah, that's it.
Favourites at Tom.
We never got an easy run, and every time we kept beating these teams, I thought we've got a really good chance.
And then there was Walsall Wood, which was possibly a replay.
Yeah.
That would play the hands of funny if it wasn't played.
Yeah.
And then Flackwell Heath possibly was the next one.
Yeah.
I remember I didn't go to Walsall, but that had to be a Tuesday night, and I was too far to get to. And then it comes to Glasshoughton. Now, well, you say it's your biggest disappointment. That first game again gets forgotten about. There were a certain player who actually you ended up signing. Were it 3 minutes into the game when he should have been sent off?
Yeah, and that's what I mean by a bit of luck. It's a sending off. You know, as maintained to this day. I mean, Kelvin obviously knows that he's last man.
Have you spoken to him about it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's pulled Lee Morris down. I know they were big mates at the time, and although we got the penalty scored, it should have been a sending off.
Because he just scored, didn't he?
And then to add insult, he goes and scores the equaliser. So and we played really well that day. You know, we were a better team. And it's the one game that I always think, you know.
I've got a feeling the referee was somebody who was local to you as well. I'm sure Eddie Holmes or something.
Right, yeah, I don't know, but I just remember that game thinking we should be at semi-final at FA Vase here. And I know it's easy to say, but I think it was team down Cornwall, we'd have beat them.
I can't remember who it was.
It ironically, I think would have been one of the easier games we had, the semi-final, and definitely missed opportunity because that was a squad that could.
I mean, that second game, although it ended in defeat, again another special occasion.
Yeah.
I actually went on the train. I went from Glasshoughton Airport to Glasshoughton.
Yeah.
It's quite a nice little place, Glasshoughton, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I pass it a lot when I've been Buxton manager, and it's lovely. And
there was a real sense of a brilliant atmosphere around that ground.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic day.
But I always think the problems with them kind of games is when you're away in them sort of games, you're underdog straight away. I always think.
Yeah, the team we had loved that. They had that mentality that we embraced that really, and we won 1-0. I think Joe Thornton scored.
Very late on though.
Yeah, and then I can remember the goal kick. It was near enough the last kick of the game, and I forget his name now. Keeper, we had Ben Gavancol. That's
it. Did he play goal?
Yes, he played a goal that day, and it was a goal kick. And I just think kick it out for a throw in. If it goes out for a throw in, I think the referee blows up. But he kicked it down the middle. They win an header, straight through score, and we were gone then.
Because you'd made a few substitutions that game, hadn't you, to see it out.
So I think Joe obviously was tired, and I think Stevie Eyster was injured as well actually in that game, and he was a big player for us as well. He was
Anton Foster, names coming back to me. Anton Foster was obviously
exactly. So, but we were probably a second away from a fantastic win. But this is what it's about, and they go on and obviously get to Wembley. So.
I remember. I think it was a warm day for March.
It was.
Well.
Yeah, it was.
It was certainly a warm day in March this year.
Yeah.
A warm day. Yeah. Like you say, I mean, you still must look back at those fond memories, though. You know, the big disappointment.
No, brilliant season. That, like you said, to win that league title was superb. I just remember, great dressing room. Like I said, Stevie I said, Lee Morris, Shane Kelsey's, those such good leaders, and we had a real strong team.
So I can't remember the particular order of this, but you've gone out of the trophy, and I've got a feeling it might be in the next game along. But you've gone to Worksop. Red cards seem to follow your career around, don't they? Big games. Have you ever been sent off yourself though?
No.
I don't think I have.
Never as a manager.
It's just you leave it to players to do all that kind of stuff. But you played Worksop, and that ended in doom and disaster, didn't it? 3-0.
I think
James Cottrell got sent off.
Yeah, I remember coming out of the FA Vase, and we had a little wobble really where it was a bit of a.
I think you lost 2 games on the spin Worksop and Liversidge.
Yeah.
Where Kelsey got sent off later on the Liversidge game as well.
Yeah, I remember that, and I remember just thinking we need to have a bit of a reboot here because everybody. I think the lads were the same as me. We knew we could have got to Wembley.
But do you think, obviously, and in fairness, he admitted after the end of the season that he said it more just and he praised you, but Mark Shaw, the manager of Worksop, said in the Worksop Guardian that they'd gone. That was the fact today.
Yeah, I think, but if you'd have watched us that day, we didn't look like we'd gone. We looked very leggy, we looked like we were still feeling sorry for ourselves, and again, just shows you the character of the players to come back and respond and do what we did and win the league. In
terms of Joe, he scored that goal against Glossop, but he added it into himself during the pandemic, and he didn't even say himself a bit of a character. He brought himself up at half time. Did he refuse to get warmed up in that first?
Yeah, he said he'd been working outside all day or freezing at half time. I come in and he's already.
They weren't even doing that. I don't remember.
I remember actually last game of the season when we won the league, and he had to win the next because Deeks got injured in the ball. And I'm trying to be, because it was against my old team, I think we were drawing at half time.
But they had an outfield player in their goal, I think, as well.
Yeah, but they'd finished bottom, I think, and I wanted to win, even though we'd won the league. And I'm thinking, Joe, everybody's just like looking at him as if what's. But Joe had already got some lager in his water bottle in nets and stuff, and character, really good player again, though. And a local lad, meant a lot to him. And but yeah.
Do you remember Simeon Bambrook?
I do, yeah, very good player.
So, I think your manager of Glasshoughton, do you remember how far they didn't see that one season when they got reformed?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it came to the second to last game. We won, I think it was 30 games on the spin, and we went away to Tadcaster, and we were 3-0 up at half time. Gareth Grant, who managed in the future, and Ben Jones were up front, and they scored. Lee Collins, remember Lee Collins?
Yeah,
he scored, I think, in that one as well. Then it 3-0. So Simeon said, with 20 minutes to go, he's going to get a cigar out. So he put a cigar in his sock. Anyway. 22 minutes into the second half, Tadcaster made it 3-2. Yeah. It's like the Alamo. I think Ben Jones made it 4-3 from the penalty. Sorry, it's 4-2 from the penalty spot, and then they scored again.
Right.
And the likes of I think Ryan Coulter played that day for Tadcaster along with Stephen Jack, and they made it 4-3. And honestly, we were hanging on with it. We got the cigar out of it.
Still this sock.
Yeah. And like you say, I think we've summed it up there. Incredible achievement. Now the following season, the 2 games I remember, 3 games I remember, is you beat Stafford twice, and they gave you a lot of stick that year as a team, didn't they? The supporters on various mediums.
Yeah, still a big team. Yeah.
But they were big wins, and they obviously took it to the last day.
Massive, yeah. I just remember I think we got record points total for a team finishing second that year. I think we scored an unbelievable amount of goals. And to not win the league was really disheartening in the end, because we had a fantastic season,
Because I remember, obviously, if you recall, the final game of the season was at rugby, and I went to that game because we went on a coach, didn't we? So I think I was sat next to, I'll tell you who I was sat next to Reece Maynolds down.
Oh yeah.
And I think Craig Elliott beside. And I think that's the day when Joe Thornton's dad, did you know about him climbing over grounds? I think he climbed over a step ladder together. But that finished 1-0. I've got a feeling possibly Gav Elliott scored early on. Now, Stafford, you needed them to lose, didn't you? Am I right in thinking the team who they were playing in the crossbar or something, or had a header over?
I think they did. I think it last minute.
And it finished 0-0.
Yeah. Like I said, I firmly believe we were the best team that year. But again, I think we had a few pitch issues where we had a few games to sort of play and catch up, and we were getting closer and closer, and ultimately in the end we just sort of run out of steam a little bit.
But you could have done much more that season.
Oh no, I mean, again, incredible season.
And do you think going into that final game of Colville, when you think you're at home favourites, do you think maybe time has kicked in? Because the game was over, I think, with half an hour to go.
Yeah, definitely. I think like I said, we finished so far in front of Colville. We had so many points and goals that year, and it was so disheartening to not win the league, and I felt that as manager. But you try and reboot again, go for the playoffs, but I think that playoff final, we just we had no legs mentally. We just gone a little bit, and that happens. You see it all the time. A team that finishes so far behind the second team not go up, and they deserved it on the day. I think Nat Watson were brilliant that day, and they deserved it.
I think you are right with the pitch issues, because I mean, controversy is the right word to probably sum up with Shaw Lane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite a number of things happened over the years, but obviously you pulled out that cup final the week before the Colville game.
Oh yeah, do you know what's about that? Yeah, because we had that many games though.
I think looking back, I mean, Frickley actually did it. Frickley was the team who went to play, and Frickley pulled out the senior cup final 2 or 3 years later because it was played 4 weeks after.
Yeah.
But looking back, you played at rugby, and I remember doing an interview with Craig Elliott saying that basically that somebody needs to budge, because we're not playing 2 nights running, because it wasn't right.
No, and I think that's right really. I mean, it's I think it was to play 2 nights on the trot, wasn't it?
I can't remember which order it was in, but basically you were going to play Frickley in the senior cup final say on Tuesday, and then was it Lincoln United?
It was something like that, and it was too important for us. We'd worked so hard for promotion all season, and that didn't come around often.
And I remember getting a message from Craig Wood on the Monday, because looking back, it was the biggest story that I ever put on my website. I think I had over 10,000 people looking at it, because you got absolutely slated, let's be honest, as a club.
I think though, as a manager and player, we wanted to play. You know what I mean? That's not.
But as a club,
it's a club, and I think without passing the buck, I think I did leave it to the club, Craig and the rest, to make the decision, because it's the club. It's their ambitions to what they want to do, and they made the decision.
But how would you have felt if you'd played that senior cup final? For argument's sake, that's on the Tuesday, and you'd gone out on the Wednesday too tired. You'd have been
exactly. It's easy to look in hindsight now and say, well, you should have played the final because you didn't get promoted. But at the time, we were big favourites to get promoted, and we didn't want to put that in jeopardy.
Because really, for me, I know it's difficult looking professional grounds, because I'm assuming it was me who played at Bramwell Lane or at Hillsborough. But end of the day, the league should look and say, right, well, Charlie could get to that player final. They might not, because they could lose the semis.
Absolutely.
And we'll play the final on the Tuesday or Wednesday. And then there'd be no issue, wouldn't there?
And that was our argument, really. It was never that we didn't want to play the game. Of course we did. We worked hard to get to another cup final, and we wanted to play, but it just logistically didn't work out for us. Yeah,
and I think looking back, I know that things have changed, but the Northern Premier League didn't help himself, because there's also, you're probably not aware of it, but there's also stories to do with ground grading where things were disputed, and when there were no reason to do it, but how many could fit in the ground. And I think certain individuals from the Northern Premier League probably should have handled things a bit differently.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So obviously this is where we're probably more heading into difficult memories. Obviously we'll go straight into it, but obviously the following season you've signed a lot of new players.
Yeah.
And obviously one of them in particular, Dan Wilkinson, which obviously I remember that night pretty well in terms of the memories that I've got of it. And a very upsetting night even as a spectator. So you've got Glasshoughton away in the League Cup on I wouldn't like to say the date wrong, but September 2016. Possibly 5 minutes into the second half, Dan's on the edge of the box, and then suddenly the game stopped and he's receiving treatment, and within a couple of minutes it was obvious something wasn't right.
It's absolutely dreadful, you know what I mean, a memory that'll never leave me and the people that were involved that night. You know, it's something that you don't expect to do when you go to a football game. There's obviously people got different what happened that night and their own memories, but my personal memory is just, you know, I'll never forget his mum and dad running across the hospital car park, you know, and he's such a great lad and somebody we'll never forget, and we'll continue to try and raise funds, you know, for his charity, and it's just an absolutely awful night that you don't want to happen ever again, really.
Because obviously you were the one who went in the ambulance, so you saw
it's, you know, like I said, I was in the ambulance and it was quite obvious then, obviously, that he passed away, and it's heartbreaking, you know. I found myself, and like I said, then you're at the hospital waiting for his mum and dad, and they were so brave that night.
Because they had to come all the way from Hull, didn't they?
Yeah, that was it, and we were waiting, and they were ringing me constantly, and obviously me knowing that it passed, it were hard to sort of keep on the phone with them, and then all the players and people at Shore Lane went into a private room.
Because I think they had the kits on, so...
Yeah, everybody come back, and as you can imagine, it was horrendous in there, and his mum and dad were so brave to come into that room and obviously see the players, and you know, and it was just an horrendous period, and you take football aside, it's just something that will live long in the memory for the wrong reasons, really. In
terms of, I've spoken to you a few times about this, and obviously at the time as well, because you didn't go to work the following day, did you?
No.
In terms of, what do you remember the next few days in terms of?
Just being pretty numb, really. Like I said, I was a father myself at the time, and just wanted to be close to my kids, really, and my wife, because it was just such an horrible thing to happen, and then obviously communicating with his mum and dad still and things like that, and not knowing what to say, because it's hard. Nobody teaches you, know, it's hard to know what to say and do. I think me and John Reid went round to see his mum and dad, and you know.
Well, you drove to Hull.
Yeah, which was so difficult. And at the time, you try to put, you know, in what's happened, and you know, so there's all them type of things, but ultimately.
John Reid must have been a massive figure for you at that time. Being an older person.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that's why I brought him in. Really, were a mentor to me. In terms, he's somebody I played for and got a huge respect for. So, but I think as well, everybody helped each other. You know, like I said, as a club, it was just devastating, and he was such a great lad. So you know, we well liked in the dressing room, and a good player in his life in front of him. So, yeah, horrendous.
So obviously that happened on the Monday, and obviously you go into the Tuesday, and I think possibly did you go up to Brig House to lay some flowers and things like that at some point that week?
Yeah, we did.
Obviously the game, which I think was Romulus, was it on the Saturday?
Yeah.
Well, what in terms of, because obviously once that happens for certainly a few days, you're not even going to, nobody's players, management, no club's not even going to mention the fixture.
No.
Can you remember how that sort of panned out?
I think, to be honest, I think that we communicated with the players, and the players decided that the best way of showing respect to Dan, and we also spoke to his mum and dad, you know what I mean, they were heavily involved in our discussions, and they felt the right thing to do was play the game, and it were always their decision, not ours, and you know, and at the end of the day, he loved his football, he was a great footballer, and you know what I mean, that's what we tried to do, pay his respect as best we could that day, and football obviously was.
So did you start meeting with the players on the Thursday possibly?
Yeah, I think when we went through, me and John Reid, you know what I mean, when we spoke to his mum, I spoke to Craig Wood and things like that, and as a group we made a decision that was the best thing to do. I think Brig House cancelled their game, they come to our game, so it was more of a game to show respect to Dan, really.
Because obviously I went to that particular game, and obviously even though I was a spectator, I was still shook up from the Monday game. I don't think I put much on the website that week. But when you look back at, I won't say it was a surreal day, but it was incredible just to see people coming together from the football industry. Because you obviously, before the game, you had a minute, I think it was a minute silence, and there was the Romulus players at Woodside, and Shoreline players there, the referees. Because I think I remember talking to the referee, because I think he had to be a big part of it in terms of making sure certain things were observed. And then obviously you had the Brighouse players on the halfway line as well, all dressed in their Brighouse attire.
Like I said, it's just a surreal environment, surreal thing to happen, and so hard for everybody involved.
Because the game was almost like a training match, wasn't it?
Yeah, which, like I said, that was secondary. It was about paying respects to Dan that day. And
no, what I'm sort of meaning is that you think it's a league game.
Yeah.
And it must be really difficult for Romulus.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everybody involved, it was so hard, and I think looking back, it was the right thing now. It was a nice, moment for his mum and dad to come and pay respects as well. And
I think there were some nice moments. I think there was a picture of I got. There was a nice picture. They put, obviously he did it properly in the end, but they put something across the stand, didn't they? Dan Wilkinson stand, which was now at Aftersley. Yeah. And I think all the players went over, didn't they, at the game? And
it was great that Brighouse were able to be there as well, because people forget about that, their players as well. It's you know what I mean, it's hard for them and everybody else involved there.
Like you say, the most difficult thing you've ever had to do, probably even personally, possibly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, for weeks after that, if not months, it was considering whether to carry on, really.
Yeah, you said that to me before. Do you think you were actually close to Vicky that decision?
Yeah, I think so, because like I said, I had 2 young children myself, and I invest so much into football and sacrifice a lot of time with my children and my family, and at times you're thinking, time's precious and every moment with them, and like I said, but I think obviously time's an healer, and you start to talk to my wife and others, and
Do you think Vicky was possibly the main reason why you didn't back in?
Yeah, because obviously, like I said, I'm close to my family and obviously my wife and my kids, and they know how much I love football, and I needed football, and probably to come away from that would have been the worst thing to do.
Because when you think about wives, some clubs you might never see the manager's wife, but Vicky's probably got quite a good knowledge of your career engagement.
No,
she hasn't missed many, has she?
Yeah, she knows every player, every sort of ups and downs I've had, and what it means to me. And like I said, it's we have family like that though. You can never do the job. It's impossible. It's 24/7.
How many times would you say she's said over the years what you signed in for?
Yeah, I mean, she's quite good actually, being astute and knowing when it's a good signing or a bad one. She's usually right, and she said, "I told you so." But
she's not come as, you haven't got as like Neil Warnock, have you? And said because he always just brings his wife, doesn't he, Sharon? She's not got as bad as it.
No. I mean, look, she's, like I said, she's always been a big support to me and my kids have as well, and the rest of my family as well. So without that, you couldn't do it. So
in terms of that season, when you look back, you've turned the team, which, let's be honest, is grieving for possibly quite a significant number of months.
Yeah.
Where's that rank in terms of achievements?
Yeah, huge. The mantra, let's do it for Dan, that were always with us, even if we did take some weeks, we knew it deep down, and that season was purely to do it for him and show as much respect to him and his family as we could. And I thought it was just such an emotional time when we did do it in the end, really. And like I said, that group will always have that bond for winning the league, and being but ultimately for what happened with Dan.
That's possibly, Neil Warnock, by coincidence, said this, that compared to some of the promotions that he's won, he still has reunions with not scouting a promotion. And out of all the success you've had, that's possibly the one that you will have.
Yeah, because nobody prepares you for that to happen, really, and there's no training can do that, so you don't know how different people are going to react. And ultimately, we reacted in the best way we could as footballer, as a football manager, and that's by trying to win. And Dan would have wanted that. His mum and dad said that, he was football mad.
And in terms of that, winning that league, I was looking back at some stuff we've done in the past, and there was an element of controversy to that title win as well, which wasn't actually it wasn't sure they weren't involved in that one, were they?
No.
But when you look back at that one, it were almost like they'd kept it secret, the league, hadn't it?
Yeah. as much as it was nice to win that league and get a promotion, I think we found out driving back from a game that they'd been docked so many points, so to win the league.
As in Witton Albion?
Yeah, Witton Albion, sorry. So.
But you would have thought you'd have found out about that months earlier.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Because for me that you might disagree with, but from recollection you were under huge pressure because I think there was a big game against Witton with not long to go, wasn't the season?
Yeah.
And they were hounding at your door.
Yeah, they were too.
And if them points had been took off earlier or you'd known about it, the pressure wouldn't have been as huge.
No, but in hindsight, you know, like it's good that we didn't know, we carried on, you know what I mean, and we got the results, and I thought we were the best team again that year, to be honest with you, and deserved to win the league, so it was nice to sort of do that.
Is there any games, my memory is more of Shaw Lane from the sort of the first 2.5 seasons you were there. That season, I don't remember too many games, but
no, I think John O'Fuller got a good winner against Witton. I think we beat him at home, didn't we? But other than that, it was just we were very strong. You know, it was more the off the pitch that I remember that year. You know, the twins Kelvin and Kieran. You know, Ryan Porter were there at times. Spencer, John Stewart.
You're looking at the recruitment in the summer you did. You were taking no chances.
I mean,
massive
the recruitment was really good. Neil Austin, you know, I could go on. There were just so many good players, and I repeat again off the pitch, so many leaders that just could get through tough games, and we took some beating that year, to be honest.
And is that the season when you had controversy in the FA Trophy?
Yeah, and again that's another. I was gutted about that because we were supposed to play Lincoln City. We'd done really well. We'd done a good run, and we were playing Lincoln City at home with the Cowley brothers, been there, and I can remember them coming to watch us play the week before actually, and then leading up to the game, there was an admin error on Alex Byrne, I think, or something like that. So I was gutted about that.
But it was more out of the system. The clubs still make the same errors. Where I think Alex Byrne had been booked, say 3 times for Shaw Lane, but then he had a different fan number.
Yeah.
And he got 2 yellow cards that you'd not spotted, which still happens to this day.
Yeah, I was gutted, and you know, you're about people like Dave Exley, you know what I mean, who work so hard, and people like that feel so guilty about it, but it was just such a simple thing that it wasn't really our fault, I don't think, at the time, and I was really looking forward to that game because, like I said, I knew we were a good team and it had been so good to test ourselves against Lincoln City. Have you especially at home.
Have you faced the Cowley brothers since?
Only in friendlies. So
you're going to have to wait for that day?
Yeah, no, definitely. But like I said, I knew we were a strong team that year, so I'll be good about that.
So you look at all these achievements, what we've talked about so far, one thing missing from is the FA Cup. But then going into the 2017-18 season, you finally tick that. So like you look at achievements, that was one box to tick, wasn't it, really?
Yeah. No, and again, sort of starting that season, we weren't as fluid as I wanted to be. Maybe some of the signings didn't make an impact that we wanted, but we slowly sort of got us into a stride, and we were at top of the league, and we knew we could do well in the FA Cup that year. And like you said, privately, I wanted to do well in the FA Cup because it was just one thing I needed to tick off on my CV, and that was a good.
So you beat Barrow, didn't you, in the?
We did, they were national.
They weren't going for the best of times at the time.
No.
It was always seen, because you were at home, it was a winnable game.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and when we got him, I just thought, I fancied that.
Did you score a late goal?
We scored a few late goals actually, because we beat Blythe away as well, which was a tough game. They absolutely battered us, to be honest with you. But we stuck in there, I think, and Damien Reeves scored a late goal in that. And then at home, like you said, Barrow was just a game that I thought, we could sort of win. I think Damien Reeves scored another goal in that one, and Spencer Harris. So, really good run.
So it comes to Mansfield, you lied on, was it BT?
Yeah.
So when you think about preparations, and I'm going to looking back at some interviews we've done in the past, how much time did you spend on preparing the team, and how much time did you spend researching whiskey for Steve Evans? Which one did you spend time on most?
Well, obviously we were looking forward to the game. It was a big occasion for us, but I can remember buying him an expensive bottle of whiskey and thinking I'd have 5 minutes with my end, and passed him it and just smacked me up the backside and said, "Good luck, Craig." So that were it. Really good character, to be fair to him, and good day, great occasion. You know what I mean? I think we could have played better on the day, but little moments just went against us.
You look back, we talked about it, like watching non-league from such a young age, and being a manager on a TV. you know, if you packed in that day, there would have been not much more you could achieve.
No, like you said, from where I come
it's like the pinnacle,
where I come from as a manager, you know, it was just brilliant. But I was just more happy for everything. Like you said at Shaw Lane, you know a lot of them like I did, and for them to have that sort of day, you know, especially the chairman as well, Craig, he deserved that, and it was just a really good occasion. And like I said, from my point of view, I just think we could have played better on the day and got a result. To be honest.
I think wasn't there an unbelievable goal in that game?
There were two actually, yeah, from the local lad, Cal Rose. Is it Cal Rose?
No, Danny Rose.
Danny Rose, yeah. So, yeah, with them like an overhead kick, which I think won goal at round actually. But yeah, it's we could have played better because of a few more problems.
But looking back at that game, though, it's a bit of a strange way to put it, but is the Mansfield game a little bit tinged in sadness in the fact that when a club reaches the first round of the FA Cup, for me, you're going to be looking, thinking, right, 2 years' time, off the back of this is going to be springboard to there, because it's going to increase the fan base, we'll be packing people in, and then in 2 years' time, we'll be on a crest of the wave and we'll be going into this direction.
Yeah.
Whereas, I think you said in an interview with me a couple of years ago where you looked around on the Monday night and thought there's 150 people there, and you thought, we can't do much more.
We were always striving to improve the club, you know, fan base, generate more money for people to have Woody, you know, and stuff like that. And I agree with you after that game. I just thought, right, there's going to be some really interesting. We played the Monday night game and it was flat, it was dead. And I thought, we're never going to be able to take this club any further now, because we've had promotions, we've had FA Cup runs. And you just sometimes know inside that you took a club as far as you can. And that was it.
Obviously, FA Cup success with Shaw Lane, top of the league, not near the top of the league. End of November time, 2017. You must have known the clubs are sniffing around you.
Yeah.
How many promotions were it for 3 and 4 years?
Yeah, so and I've had 5 in like the total career, so it was tough. I had a few teams sort of ask about me and things, and I never really felt I wanted to leave, if I'm being honest. But and like I said, that Monday were a difficult game to sort of accept, and I just knew deep down, and we were top of the league, and I felt like we could get another promotion. But then obviously Boston is just a club that I couldn't turn down. Really, it was such a huge club and a big step up.
Well, you look at them. I mean, I think you put this. You look at big clubs in sort of non-league, certainly locally. I've always seen Frickley as a big club with potential. I think if you had a big success there, you'd have a good fan base. But certainly around this area, we haven't got Harrogate Towns as an example, but they've gone away. Guys, they've always been seen as a big club, and they do get some good crowds. Yeah. But I think you probably always wanted one with a massive fan base, and there ain't going to be too many sort of locally to you other than Boston, is there? No, absolutely. And obviously, once I knew it might happen at Boston, then I had to take that opportunity to the next Football League club, massive, stadium and fan base, like you said, and it was just, it was a decision that was a no-brainer, really. Yeah, I think obviously a couple of obvious ones to talk about. Obviously, I'm not too clued up with Boston, because obviously it's not a period I covered in terms of the website, but did you nearly play Newcastle?
Yeah, again we got to the second round of FA Cup, great run. We took Rochdale to a replay, that was live on BT as well, and we just lost 2-1, and winner of that, we're playing Newcastle at home, so we should have got something out of that game. Another one that sort of went by, really, but great occasion. I think there were 7,000 at Boston, and it was a great game, but we should have played Newcastle in that. And
I think an obvious one that stands out is obviously pandemic came. And the National League decided they wanted to play the playoff semi-finals, so you were in them. And but am I right thinking that York possibly would have won the league if the season had continued?
Maybe. I mean, we were third at the time, and we were playing well. We were chasing Kings Lynn down, and York were as well. So we fancied his chances. We tried to get that home advantage in playoffs, but York had probably nicked it, and we'd have been close.
But you played them in the semi-finals, I think.
No, they went over. We played Gateshead in semi-final, so we beat Gateshead in semi-final and got into the playoff final. And we worked so hard to get home advantage because Boston's ground so intimidating, big fan base, and ultimately we had an home game against Altrincham with no fans there. And I maintain to this day, if we'd have had fans there would have won at home, but it just become a very drab 1-0 game, and we lost, unfortunately.
And I mean, you talked about like the FA Vase with Wembley, and that obviously, I mean, I remember you around that time, you were gutted for certainly a few weeks over it. You must have, I mean, especially it wasn't a lockdown, but it was still fairly a lockdown. People weren't allowed to do much.
Yeah.
That must have been hard to swallow.
Yeah,
the player final.
Player final was probably one of the lowest moments I've had, because the mistake as well. You see the goal. His keeper's Peter Crooks made a really bad mistake, but there was nothing in the game, and just an opportunity passed really, because we could have then took them into the National League. And you look at Altrincham now, but they're the fine margins in football. So yeah, we're really good at that day, if I'm being honest.
Because you look at, like you say, what opportunity, things you've ticked off, FA Cup first round. There's probably only two outstanding, Wembley and managing National League, isn't it, in terms of non-league?
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's where my skill set is, non-league, it always has been, and like you said, one day hopefully I can get to National League, and one day, obviously it's a big ambition of mine as well, to try and get a team to Wembley, which is hard, but obviously hopefully got a few more years left to try and get them achieved.
But how did it feel as well, being the manager of Boston, to take them into a new stadium, because you'll always be associated with that?
Yeah, no, I had a fantastic time at Boston, it was brilliant, great chairman, learned so much as a manager, and like you said, to move into a brand new stadium were brilliant, and I played my part in that, and again left them in a better position. I've always done that, they were second bottom when I went there, and to leave them in playoffs, although I lost my job when we were in playoffs, felt harsh at time, but I'm proud of what I achieved.
Did you get to the playoff final after you left?
Yeah, so I left them in the playoffs. And,
so that's your team, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like I said, I'll never say anything bad about Boston. It was such an amazing place, and I learned so much, and nothing but great memories. It's a fantastic.
I mean, it's not somebody I've ever met, but obviously I remember Boston when they came out of the Football League, and the gentleman that obviously is chairman now, Dave, he's obviously been chairman a very long time, and you see a lot happen where chairmen come into clubs and they promise the world, and then it all fades to nothing. Whereas he seems to be possibly one of the best chairmen there's been around, because he's delivered on. I know that. Well, he's gone back to the National League now,
yeah.
But he's delivered on what he set out to do with the stadium.
I couldn't agree more. Like I said, I learned a lot of him as a person. I was very close to him, and I was thankful for him giving me the opportunity, at the time. And I'd like to think I repaid him, I achieved everything that we wanted to achieve while we were there. And it was just a brilliant period. And football always comes to an end when you're a football manager. And although, despite not seeing that season out, I was proud of, the challenge for promotion, FA Cup run, taking them away from relegation to fringes at playoffs as well. So nothing but fantastic memories and a good period in my football.
Was there another FA Cup defeat which possibly was towards the end of your reign?
We were a game away from second round again, but we lost at replay. So it's like you say, football is always highs and lows.
But you look at the crowds that they get, potentially can get, and there must be some games that stand out for you.
We beat some big teams, like in the league, we remember us beating York all the time, we never lost to them and stuff, and some big wins away at Kidderminster and things, so we were a good period. Like I said, I'd like to think I progressed the club well and left them in a better position, and that's all you can do as a manager, and so happy they got promoted this year. They deserve to be in that league, and some brilliant, again, really good people behind the scenes, and you can see why it's such a good club.
I mean, you look at the website. Is it Craig Singleton?
Yeah.
And I covered a game for the Oxford Evening Post when they played Guiseley in the playoff semi-final. Stephen Drench did the penalty, and it absolutely ran the place. And Guiseley were expected to win. Steve Kittrick obviously done very well. He was manager of Guiseley, and they were going absolutely balmy at the end. But I think Craig Singleton was around them days, and I think I spoke to him that day when I was waiting for Steve Kittrick to go off the pitch. But the website, the programme's probably been some of the best around for you. Amazing,
he's the heartbeat of the club again, deserves that promotion this year. And I maintain a good club isn't just about the players, the manager, it's about people behind it as well, their heartbeat, and it's an amazing club, and really glad they're doing well.
So you came away from Boston, and probably one of the more erratic, probably the most erratic period in your managerial career. So you maybe had 6 months out?
Yeah, about that,
Just waiting for the right opportunity. And Matlock, and 2 months you did with Matlock.
Obviously it should never have gone really. I think there were a new chairman there that maybe promised things that didn't deliver, and it was one of them really that couldn't bring the players in I wanted, or having to let players go. And I get that happens, but you know, when you get promised
But you
things,
technically dropped down the division as well.
I just, again, it was a club I felt like that I could progress, you know, because of what I was getting told, but obviously things changed when I went in, and it wasn't as transparent behind the scenes as I wanted it to be, really. And so yeah, and then I got opportunity to go to Buxton really pretty quickly.
So 18 months was it?
Yeah.
How would you sum that sort of journey?
Yeah, interesting club, you know, a chairman that does things a lot different to the other chairmans that I've had before, but equally some brilliant people behind the scenes, and again, learnt a lot, you know. It's a club that were down at relegation again and left them in a good position, you know, to kick on, and I believe they're going full time this year. Obviously, it didn't suit my life really that I want to do, so it's fond memories, and it was a bit of a trek to get there from this. So, but
there's no easy way to get there, is there?
No, there's not. But like I said, we had a brilliant run last year. I think we went 26 games unbeaten. You know, we were down at relegations and we missed on playoffs at last game of the season at Chester. Won the Derbyshire Cup 2 years on the trot, so another 2 trophies, and they were good occasions at Pride Park. So yeah, really happy to get a couple of trophies for the club. And again, like I said, as a manager, your job is to leave that club in a better position for it to carry on progression, and I've done that.
So when did you decide to leave? December time?
I think so, in terms of, myself were December, but we announced it probably 6 or 7 weeks before the end of the season.
So if they weren't going full time, do you think you'd be still there?
I'd like to think so, yeah. That's what, you know what I mean, I want to be, you know what I mean, it's hard to be a full-time manager sometimes, you know, I've got a job outside.
Because we forgot to mention that this is, again, one of your other finest achievements is the fact that you've gone from paying 10 quids to players at Glasshoughton to becoming a full-time manager at Boston.
Yeah.
That is quite some achievement.
Yeah, it is, and it's hard to sort of, you've got to adapt, you've got to be flexible, and you've got to learn pretty quickly on the job, so it's hard, but it's, really proud.
When you went full-time at Boston, you've obviously been in secure income for you know, for 20 odd years since you left school.
Yeah.
Was there an element of, oh my god, if this goes wrong within 3 months?
Yeah, of course there is, and like I said, I didn't really want to put myself in that position again, really.
But did that factor in your mind at Boston, or did you think I was just going to go for it?
No, I think I was a bit more like go for it at that time, but I think now looking back, I won't make them sort of same decisions. I think football's so fragile, and you see it now. Managers in this day and age are not getting long enough at clubs, and there's so many erratic decisions, and it's so hard for a manager. I've got nothing but respect for all managers from top to bottom, to be honest with you. It's such an horrible job to do. It's rewarding, but you know, it can end so quickly for some managers.
So if a full-time opportunity came along now, it'd have to be something...
It'd have to be right. I mean, at Buxton it had never been right, you know what I mean, the environment and what I wanted, so, but yeah, it'd have to be sort of tick all the boxes for what I want moving forward, and have a good relationship with the chairman and the ambition of the club, really. So
if you read the bookmakers, you nearly got a football league job a few years ago, didn't you? And you were favourite for Grimsby, weren't you?
Yeah, they wanted to talk to me while I was at Boston, obviously I was under contract then, so...
were they in the football league at the time?
Yeah, they were in the League 2 I think at the time, yeah.
Is that something you look back and think, oh, what might have been? Or?
Potentially.
Because it would have been a very different... That would have been a type of job that could have easily gone spectacularly wrong, because
yeah, potentially,
I think they got relegated, didn't they, that season?
I've got to be honest, I've never really had no real ambition. It sounds great, I've not ambition to manage a football league. I class myself as a non-league manager. I'm obsessed with non-league, and that's where I know what I'm doing, and that's where I want to be, to be honest with you. If I can get National League, then brilliant, but I love non-league football, and that's where I want to manage, to be honest with you. I also have done.
When you were at Boston, even though they were full-time, you were full-time, sorry, were it a hybrid model, or were the players full-time?
No, it was a hybrid model, so it was just me that were full-time.
Because how did you find that? Because again, when you started, you maybe train once a week or
yeah.
And then you become a full-time manager.
Again, like I said, I've had to adapt a lot to different environments and different ways of managing, really, and that is one thing I've had over the years, is different types of management, really, at clubs. But I found that I could watch a lot of academy football and the 23 football, which were brilliant.
So you were seeing a different breed of players?
Yeah, and I was being able to go into certain clubs and watch them train. I was going to Huddersfield and Barnsley a lot to watch them train, pick up new techniques and stuff, so... Yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm now at the stage where I'm a more rounded manager where I've got a lot more to offer, and yeah, probably coming up to my peak years as a manager, to be honest with you.
Because I think when you at Boston I think bringing people in like Lee Stratford and particularly John McDermott, top coaches, I think that were a bit of a masterstroke really, because it brought the right kind of people around you.
Yeah, I think I've always said you need good staff, and I've always managed to do that at most clubs, really bringing good people around me who fit the club, the environment, and I've never been worried to bring in people that maybe want your job or want to be a manager themselves. I think it's important to have good staff. So
thinking about chairman, I know that I'm not this is meaning from a manager point when you were managing. I'm thinking players, possibly one of the best chairmen. Well, I'll see if you match with one. Who would you say the best chairman you played for?
Well, I think obviously Dave Newton and Craig Wood. I think for different reasons.
Well, I mean when you were a player.
Player. Well, probably Bill.
Yeah,
Bill.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Bill probably arrogant. Again, learned to want to win, and that enthusiasm and the love for football. It rubs off on everybody around.
Because he used to train in his back garden.
Yeah, we did.
Did he have slippers on or something?
Yeah, just stood on the back garden watching players train, and fantastic memories.
Because he was somebody I dealt with him. We used to go when Farsley folded. My family got involved in Harrogate Town for a bit, and I did some website stuff and program things. So my mum ended up helping out in the boardroom by pure accident. And I remember you forget things, and recently I remembered some interesting stuff. Because once Gordon Strachan turned up, and he once had a story. There's actually it's in the autobiography that he went in for a contract extension at Leeds and a pay rise, and walked out owing for 2 season tickets. And I ended up in the press box helping with the tie, and my mum and dad actually met Strachan because he came to watch his lad play for Corby. Playing on me. And Gordon Strachan were telling all these people in his room, and Bill had his arm around him, but he was I remember we got a phone call, I don't know if it was my phone or my dad's, pre-season 2011, and it was Alan Williams who at the time the secretary, and there's Bill in the background, give us the phone, and he's on the phone saying, we're going to get you and your dad at this club, you're going to do brilliant, and any conversation with him, you'd walk out for $1 million, and I don't know how you felt when
not saying, I remember sort of towards the end, I wanted Grimsby Town come in for me to play, actually, and I was there, and he's pulling me out of the trial, saying he'll get me a bigger move than that, and I'll get you there and everywhere, and it never happened, but...
Did they pay a fee for you as well?
Yeah, if you call it a fee, I can't remember how much it was.
They were spending money on players though at the time.
Yeah. No, good memories, like I said, and Mick Hennigan as well, who obviously ex-Leeds assistant manager, and they were really good.
He was an interesting trainer, wasn't he?
Yeah, just really again, just that enthusiasm, really, the love for football, and it just rub off on everybody else around him, And
so did you play for John Reid at Harrogate Town?
Yeah, well, when I first went, John Reid were assistant to Mick Hennigan, and then I think they did it together, and then John Reid.
But John Reid managed you at 16, didn't he?
17, yeah, I just got released from Doncaster Rovers.
You actually NC Premier Division?
Yeah. So I got released at Doncaster Rovers and went to play for John at Hatfield, and then we won the Premier Division.
So what would you say was John Reid team talk like?
Geez, just so enthusiastic, just made you feel $1 million, and he's a non-league legend, and another one growing up, just so much respect for him and want to try and replicate what he's done in his management career, and really good manager.
And then I think other managers play for Martin Airside.
Yeah, no, another one, this is the thing, they all have different attributes, and as you sort of play for them, you try and pick up bits along the way, and
Did you play for Steve Kittrick anymore?
I think no, I don't think I did actually, but I know Steve very well, so
So we've talked about some of the sides. Any other sides that stand out for you? We obviously mentioned Kelsey and Jimmy Isles.
No, it's all just different periods, I suppose. Like as you walk.
Because we did mention earlier, we did mention him. I think last out when I would say people like Anthony Lloyd and Paul Sykes possibly.
Paul Sykes, brilliant. Lee Bennett were always a brilliant sign, did well at certain periods.
So would you say it's your best signings at Boston and Buxton's?
I think Boston, they were like called Andy Fanodge and probably Brad Abbott, really. They were both really good in midfield for me. We went on an amazing run, we beat Salford away, and all these top teams beat Harrogate Town when they got promoted as well, so them two played a big part in us going from bottom at league to fringes at playoffs.
Well,
Really.
we haven't mentioned where we are. We're at Crofton Community Centre where Boston and Welfare player, and you did actually sign a player off the back of play.
Yeah, I remember coming and watching that tournament, and a lad called Gary Starmer, who were brilliant. He actually played against my Boston team over a year for Kettering. And that would be, I think Dan Smith will take credit for that, but great signing.
Yeah. Right, well, I think we'll leave it there, Craig, but it has been good, and I think we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of players, and have you enjoyed sort of looking back? It's certainly achieved a lot of the years.
Yeah, no, it's been a good run, like I said, a lot of success, and just want to sort of try and continue that really. I think when you get a lot of promotions early in your career, you think it's like all time, but it's...
well, I think you've had a bit of a barren run, haven't you?
Yeah, well that's it, and that's why I think if it happens again, I'd definitely sort
of... But where do you think, obviously, I think when you went to Buxton, there weren't many jobs came up National North up to maybe Christmas time. Do you foresee having to be really patient?
I think so, yeah. I spoke to folk. I think I've been offered 4 jobs since I left. And,
in the summer?
Yeah, one of them were really close, but we just couldn't get something sorted. And I think maybe years ago I probably just took it, but I want it to be right this time. The next job I go into, I want to be able to grow the club and be there for 2-3 years.
Well, I think what's impressive, because let's be fair, is that if Buxton hadn't gone full time, there's a high chance you'd be still there.
Yeah.
But you look at all the clubs you've been at. Again, Ossett Town's much shorter, and obviously Backlot was very short. But there's longevity in each one.
Yeah, no, I definitely like to think that when I go to a club, I want to be there 3-4 years, and I think then you can grow a club, build it, and have success, and that's what I want to do on the next job. And whether that comes in next 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, I don't know.
Do you think that would you drop lower than National North?
Yeah, I'm never snobby enough. I think I've proved that in my career again as well. It's about the club, it's about the chairman and their ambition really, and that's what I'll be looking to moving forward. And hopefully something comes up next year. But we'll enjoy the summer the best I can really. It's been nice not to be chasing agents and players and organising.
Well, I was going to say that it must be hard, particularly last couple of years, and when you've been at Boston, you must get. I mean, if they'd said to you that when you were Glasshoughton manager, there's an agent going to get in touch with you, it goes on even at that level, which is ridiculous. But you must get some crazy phone calls at times. Yeah,
it's tough. It's probably got worse now. The last few years, everybody seems to have an agent, and it's tough. So. But I haven't missed it too much yet, like I said, I want to enjoy the summer, I've got a few holidays and then we'll see what happens next year. Hopefully the right job comes up. It'd be nice to manage back in Yorkshire, it would. It's been a while, so yeah, that'd be nice.